guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here from my studio here in Hong Kong. It's a glorious sunny day, which means I've got to shut the curtains to shoot a video, but there we go. In this video I thought I would talk a little bit about, I've been exploring alternate tunings, and by alternate I don't just mean drop D. Perhaps detuning or changing the tuning significantly on the guitar is something perhaps more appropriate. So, I mean, obviously, like most people, I play my guitar in standard tuning. So here we have my Sir, and it's tuned as one would expect. E, A, D, G, B, and E. So I can just play, your standard. All your standard stuff, and that's great for the majority of my playing, and certainly my lead stuff. Some people are really good at adapting to different tunings. I am not one of those people. I am very, very comfortable on a guitar in standard tuning, or standard tuning, tune down a semitone or tune down a tone. That doesn't worry me. What I'm not comfortable with, certainly for lead stuff, is playing anything that's tuned, altered tuning. So, something in Dadgad or something I really struggle with. I enjoy it from a creative point of view, but if I want to be able to improvise and certainly play lead stuff, that's not my comfort zone at all. So the piece you heard at the beginning actually featured 3 guitars in different tunings. The main guitar part, obviously, I mean it's a piece I've had around for a good while, and I'm starting to plan actually formally recording it and getting it out there, because it's a melody that absolutely sticks with me and I always find myself playing. Now in terms of the basic chord pattern of it, it's just certainly of the verse theme, it's just a B minor to a B minor over A to what's basically a G major 7. So it's kind of, it's just a B minor chord taking the bass note down, really. And I could have obviously just recorded the rhythm guitar part on a standard tuning guitar doing exactly that. But what I wanted was some variety, really in terms of that. Now, so I actually took my other 2 electric guitars that I've got currently here in Hong Kong and tuned them really quite differently. So I will switch guitar and show you exactly what I did. Okay, so here now we have Snowy, which obviously is a guitar that anyone who's followed me over the last 5, 6, 7 years is more than familiar with. And what I decided to do with this guitar is I wanted something that just gave it a bit more meat. Now I don't have a baritone or a 7-string, so what I did was I got a set of 12 to 60, I think, gauge D'Addario strings. I can tell you exactly what they are. They are, yes, EXL 148 12 to 60 D'Addario strings. And because the piece was in B minor, I decided that I was going to tune this guitar down a 4th, so down to B. So rather than it being E, A, D, G, B, E, this is actually B, E, A, D, F sharp, B. So it's still in, from my brain's point of view, standard tuning. It's just tuned down. But obviously it's tuned down quite a way, and that gives it quite a sort of menacing kind of tone to it. It's easier than trying to play on a 7-string because I'm not having to rethink chords and all that kind of thing. So it meant, okay, the piece is in B minor, but this guitar is tuned down a 4th. I can just play it in E minor. So what that actually then gives me is essentially E minor, D, C major 7. So one part of the backing actually did that. So fact, yeah, what feels like on the guitar to me is an E minor, a D sus2, and an C major 7, but obviously is actually a B minor, an A sus2, and a G major 7. And that helped to give the loop some weight. It meant I then had to rethink in terms of, okay, the chorus bits of it are just a D and an A, so I had to then put my thinking cap on and think, okay, we're down a fourth, so the D chord will therefore be a G, so you get this kind of so that became one half of the guitar bedding. So it's it's a guitar tuned down a fourth. So effectively in baritone-ish kind of tuning. Although generally I like to think of baritone being an A. There's some flexibility there. These strings, it says, are optimized for C tuning. But actually I found, because I play a 9.5, not a 10 on my main guitar, that tuning down to B gives me the same kind of feel, obviously with slightly meatier strings. And then to kind of contrast that, I then moved across to a guitar that hasn't shown up in any videos yet, but is about to. So this slightly motley looking guitar is obviously it is slightly unusual in the sense that it's a kind of Ibanez FR series based, but I don't know whether you can see, but it's got a kind of Union Jack hidden in there, and it's actually, I believe, the Ibanez Ben Bruce model BBM1 signature guitar. What I did was I took out the Infinity pickups that weren't great. So this has got an old pink Dismadio PAF Pro in the neck, which I had in a guitar which I can't now remember the name of. It was my red JS100 that I used to have. Had these pink pickups in when I got it. I swapped them out fairly quickly, so I haven't used them since. So I had it in a box, and I thought that would make a good neck pickup. And then in the bridge, I've actually got a Dismadio AT1, which is the Andy Timmons model guitar, pickup. And this guitar, I mean, it was a cheap guitar. It's it's designed for drop tuning, kind of scary music. So it came with a fairly high action, and I don't have any nut files at the moment. So what I've done instead, you'll notice, is I've put a capo on at the first fret, which then eliminates any problems with the nut, and tune the guitar down a semitone. But in terms of tuning, this is where this gets interesting, because this is in what we call Nashville tuning, which basically, if you think of a 12-string guitar, you'll know that the E, A, D, and G strings are in octave pairs, so they have the standard guitar strings and then the strings an octave up, and then the B and the E strings are just pairs in unison. And this is basically the top half of a 12-string guitar set, which again is a set of D'Addarios, this time the EXL 150H, which is a 10 to 26, which is slightly odd feeling because only the bottom E string is wound. And what this gives you is E, A, D, G, and then back down to B, E. So whereas on any normal guitar the thinnest string is the top E string, on this the G string is actually the thinnest. That's a 9 and the E is a 10. So I'm tuned down a semitone with a capo on the first fret, so it sounds in standard tuning. And what that let me do then is basically just play the normal guitar part, but it sounds rather different, which is kind of funky. So then the riff from the song. So that's on its own sounds a little bit strange, and certainly it's no good really for playing lead parts on, because you get this really strange jump where it drops down an octave when you get from the G to the B, which is the two strings you'll probably play most often when you're playing leads. But it really adds interesting kind of almost mandolin kind of sound to things when you're playing kind of arpeggios and that kind of stuff, and then when you're strumming chords, it just gives a wonderful full sound, particularly when doubled up with something else. So it's just a real contrast, and something I found is a really useful way of exploring. It worked particularly well for this piece because of the key it was in, but it's just exploring different textures, layering them up, and it means as I say, this was a cheap guitar. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of pounds or dollars on a guitar that for doing something experimental with. I had one of the pickups I put in stock. The other one I got half price in a sale, so it was like £25. It was $320 at Hong Kong, which is about 40 US dollars. So I really didn't have to spend a lot on the guitar. It was about 200 quid. But it just gave me an extra texture that really made things interesting. And so the combination of the two guitars then gave me a much more expansive bed, particularly as I've not got any keyboards at the moment, to then lay the lead part on. So I don't know whether any of you have experimented with any of these ideas. Be interested to know what you think. Certainly something I'm going to use more in the future, because I'm certainly going to keep a guitar dedicated to B tuning and a guitar dedicated to Nashville tuning, and then play my Sur and whatever guitars come along in the future on top of all that. Okay, well, you found that interesting. Until next time, take care. I'll see you soon.